So this is a few days after I did the garden cleanup, so I just wanted to show you what the garden looks like in April. Today's April 8th, I think. So a lot of the stuff is just starting to poke up out of the ground. So you can see here the daylilies and the hens and chicks right beside them. They made it in the winter really good. And then right here you see this really healthy clump of new growth on the catmint. That's done really well, and the rabbits tend to leave it alone. Right here is some phlox that's starting to poke up out of the ground, and you can see here's the sedum. It kind of loses its bigger leaves over the winter, so it only has these ones on the these little clumps on the edges. So I want to figure out a way to make more of it and have a more dense looking plant. So right over here, you can see this is the Quickfire hydrangea. I deadheaded it last night, and you can see the new buds on it are starting to open up. Then right over here is the Gnathophyia. Yeah, and I just cut it back. Then you can see right here, as well as over here, is the bellflower that's just starting to sprout up out of the ground and getting ready to bloom. Then right here you can see some Penstemon hirsutus, or hairy penstemon, that I also just cut back. Then if we move over here, you can see some black-eyed Susans that are also evergreen, so they hold their leaves really good throughout the winter. And you can see two clumps of salvia, one right here and one right here. I divided these in the fall, and I'm glad they made it through the winter really good. Right here, you can see the new growth on a peony plant. And right here, the first flowers of the spring. The hyacinths that are really beautiful. It's really nice to see some stuff has flowers on it, finally. So winter is officially gone in the garden. And then right here is a tulip plant. You can see right there, let's see if I can figure out a way to, that's the purple coneflower, and if you look down in there, you can see the new growth. Right here is a bearded iris that looks really good. I cut it back, so this is all new growth since like December. Here's another one of those sedums, and then there's another little clump of it right here. And then over here, some lilies that are starting to poke up out of the ground. You can see right there is the sedum. I moved it because it used to be over there, so I just moved it over here so it has a bit more space. And I divided it, so I actually moved part of it to the backyard. So that's why you can see the soil looks a little rough. Right here, you can see the endless summer hydrangea, the new growth on it. Looks really good. And the stalk of the swamp milkweed plant. Nothing has started poking up out of the ground yet. So a lot has happened in the little woodland garden, I guess you could call it. So first, you can see the daylilies right there, but you can also see this is the columbine, and it's starting to get ready to bloom. It's putting out all this really healthy new growth. You can see the wild geranium right there. These leaves are starting to poke up out of the ground. I'm not sure if that stump made it, but I think it's gonna be all right. You can see the new leaves on the wild ginger. They kind of unfurl in a really nice looking way. I don't know if there's any more inside of that. Yeah, so you can see the two leaves, and then there's also, that's a flower bud at the bottom right there. And then finally, which was not here the last time I checked, was right here. Let's see if I can get that little thing poking up out of the ground right there, is the Solomon seal. So there will soon be Solomon seal in this garden. The coral bells rather, have been kind of ruined by the rabbits, but I sprayed them with the repellent, so we'll see what that does. And over there, the hosta, is starting to poke up out of the ground. So if we come around, you can see there's a heuchera in there. That looks really good. It made it through the winter really good. And you can see all these roots. These are from when I transplanted the sedum. So these roots from the bearded iris go all throughout this entire area. Here's a closer look at the sedum. That's the hosta right there. And you can see over here is the lavender that I cut back. And you can see all that really great looking new growth on it. And then finally, I brought this outside last night, the fig tree, so you can see at the base there's thyme and chives growing. I cut back the thyme. I might do it some more just so it looks a little neater, but you can see the buds on it. And yeah, that concludes the spring garden tour. Everything looks really beautiful and healthy and is starting to sprout after the winter, which is really nice.